Welcome everybody to the weekly share of the Zera Shimshon. It's the 20th day of Sivan, Tavshin Pei Gimel in Eretz Yisrael. It's Parshat Shlach. I apologize if you want to listen to last week's Parshat, you'll have to go listen to Ba'aleischa last week. But this week's Parshat in Eretz Yisrael is Shlach. You'll catch up in a few weeks. And I wish everybody a safe Shabbos and be protected from all the fire, smoke and pollution from Canada. It's interesting. Everybody thinks they're such a holy country, but all right, they're not. So this week's parsha is talking about the change of the name. It says Vayikra Moshe leYehoshua ben Nun Yehoshua. So Rashi says there, Ka Yud K, the same, Yoshiacha mi'atzas meraglim. So God should protect you from the counsel of the wicked meraglim. Okay, kasha. So why did it say dafka the word ka? Yoshiacha vel haloya filo eisachas min Hashem yochel legamkin lahishiyenu lahishiyai. Even one other name from God's name could save him. So and then v'oid. According to that, according to this, he really only added not the yud and the k and the hey, he only added the yud to his name, Yehoshua, right? What do we need? Both things: the haisafa sa'is, the extra letter of the shame, and also to be mispalo for him. It was one of them alone would be sufficient. So the Arizal says that when the Meraglim left for Eretz Yisrael, Hashem loaned them neshamas from the Shvatim to watch over them. Every spy was imbued with the neshama of a progenitor of his tribe. Thus it was that the spy of the tribe of Reuven was injected, so to speak, in the neshama of Reuven himself, and so on. The tribe of Levi did not send a representative from their tribe, since they would not be receiving a portion of the land. But they did have a spy in the group nonetheless, Yehoshua ben Nun, from the Shevet Ephraim, who received the neshama of Levi, the original Levi, right? Thereby enabling the spy from the tribe of Menashe to receive the neshama of Yosef. For this reason, Moshe Rabbeinu was most concerned about Yehoshua, not because he was a Talmud of Moshe, but rather because he was using Levi's neshama. Were Yehoshua to sin during his time in Eretz Yisrael, it would leave a blemish on Levi's soul and on the soul of Moshe Rabbeinu, as a descendant of Levi and as the premier member of his Shevet. During this turn of events meant that Moshe Rabbeinu had a vested interest in helping to ensure that Yehoshua ben Nun did not fail when faced with the challenge of the Meraglim, because failure on his Talmud's part would have affected Moshe Rabbeinu himself. That's from Ois Aleph and the Zera Shimshon, the Ramaschal Ba'oid. So, the Segula of the Zera Shimshon, I haven't done a few weeks, but here it is. He says from a quote from a letter, Dear Rabbi Yisrael, I am the Rosh Yeshiva of American Yeshiva, and I'll never forget the day Dovi Schreiber, and pseudonym, asked to see me. Dovi was a younger man in the Yeshiva's Koilo and had been married for 4 long years without children. We sat together and we began to cry, and he explained that the doctors had recently concluded that from medical standpoint, it would be extremely difficult, if not impossible, for him and his wife to have a child. This is my Talmud. It was mamish hurt me. It mamish hurt me to see his pain. It would have hurt, regardless. But when it's someone that you've known for years and you've seen grown and developed into a genuine Ben Torah, the pain is even greater. I thought for a while and eventually said, "Listen, there's a very chashuv segula that I've heard about that has achieved results in many cases." "What's that?" said my Talmud. I told him about the sefer that I heard about, Zera Shimshon, whose Mechaber writes in the Sefer's introduction that anyone who learns the Sefer will be blessed with children like olive shoots around his table. Do me a favor, I told him. Get a hold of the Sefer for me, and I will not only learn from it, but use it in my drushas as well. Bli neder. Dovi was very excited by my proposal and ran out to Sforim store to purchase the Sefer. By mistake, however, he brought me the wrong Sefer, called the Sefer Zera Berach, which is also a famous Sefer, instead of the Zera Shimshon. Both starts with the word Zera. Okay, it took us a little bit of time to figure out that it was the wrong one, but after which he purchased the correct Sefer instead. As soon as I had the Sefer, I began using it in my shirin, and I also decided to take things a step further. Once a week, I began to record myself giving a short shir on the Zera Shimshon of that week's Sedra, which I sent out to a group of people who had committed to listening to the shir. When it arrived in the schus of this younger man and his wife. And I always do this in the schus of certain people that I know have been married many years, and they're done with segulais already, they've had it, but there's always a hope. There's always hope because you learned from Avram and Sarah. Okay, there's always a hope. So anyway, so we're always learning in the schusim of these people that I have their private names. I specifically didn't send it to a lot of people, but everyone on the list promised to listen to it when it arrived in their inbox. At the end of the shir, I also mentioned the names of the couple who were doing this for, so that everyone involved could daven for them, in addition to learning what they were doing. Okay, time passed with me recording the shir every week without fail, and I want to make something very clear here. Sending out the weekly email with my shir was not simple. The Zera Shimshon's Torah is complicated and complex. I had to first understand it myself and then retell it in a way that everyone I was speaking to would understand it as well. I'd also add some of my own ideas and wrap up things in a beautiful way so that it became an eagerly anticipated once a week email. And also not too long, I might add. After I'd been doing this for a while, I decided that to add the names of 3 other couples with whom I personally was acquainted, couples that also needed a Yeshua if they were to have children. I would deliver the weekly shir and conclude with the names of the 4 couples. One of them had already been married for 5 years without children. Within that year, every one of the 4 couples had children, even though some of the couples had been told by their doctors that there was no hope for them. Within the year, we celebrated a simcha with every one of the couples on the list. And may we all be zeicha, and everybody who needs Yeshua be zeicha to get whatever they need, the parnasa, the Yeshuas, from disease and health and children and shalom bayis and all the git zachem. And may everybody have a wonderful Shabbos, whatever parsha you may be celebrating. Have a wonderful week. Good Shabbos.